What if I told you that the primary reason so many men over 60 experience erectile dysfunction has surprisingly little to do with testosterone levels? The real cause is much more unexpected and often much easier to address. Many men aren't aware that they have a group of muscles located deep within their pelvis. These muscles are crucial for controlling blood flow and firmness. When these muscles become weak, no amount of medication or supplements can fully restore what you've lost. This weakness can quietly diminish a man's vitality, self-assurance, and even his sense of manhood. I'm Dr. Edward Langley, and I'm a men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men just like yourself. I've encountered countless situations where men thought their best days were behind them, only to discover that a few straightforward, natural adjustments could completely transform their performance and confidence. The surprising truth is that the key to stronger, healthier erections could already be in your refrigerator. 3 specific kinds of cheese, when consumed correctly, can help rebuild those essential pelvic muscles, improve circulation, and revive the strength you believed was gone forever. In this video, I'm going to share the 3 specific cheeses that science and decades of medical practice have shown to be powerful allies for men over 60. I'll demonstrate how to use them for maximum benefit, and how one simple timing trick can actually double their effectiveness. Please stay with me until the end, because I promise that what you're about to learn could restore not only your physical strength, but also your confidence, energy, and the man you remember being on the inside. Now, before we get started, if you're serious about regaining your strength and vitality after 60, please go ahead and click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. This way, you won't miss any of the natural health tips designed specifically for men like you. And if this message resonates with you, please type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, and let me know how I can better support your health journey. Now that you understand what's truly at stake, let's delve deeper into the actual root of the problem, the hidden muscle loss that occurs right inside your pelvic floor. It's a silent change that affects almost every man over 60, and it could be the missing piece in understanding weaker erections. Let's talk about the hidden muscle problem that nobody seems to discuss. Most men aren't aware of this because, frankly, no one ever tells them, but inside your pelvis are 2 small, yet powerful muscles that directly influence your ability to get and maintain a strong erection. You can't see them in the mirror, and you can't flex them like your arms or chest. However, these pelvic floor muscles are the foundation of male performance. They help pump blood into the penis, hold it there, and support the strength of your erection during arousal. Without them, the entire process starts to fail, slowly at first, and then all at once. I remember one of my patients, a 68-year-old named John. He came to me feeling defeated. "Doc," he said, "I still have the desire. I still love my wife, but things aren't working like they used to." He had tried testosterone therapy, and he'd tried the little blue pills, but nothing lasted. The solution wasn't more hormones. It turned out that the muscles responsible for maintaining his erections were simply shrinking due to age. This muscle loss isn't your fault. It's a natural part of aging, and it's called sarcopenia, which is the age-related decline in muscle mass. And it doesn't just affect your arms and legs. It also affects internal muscles, including the pelvic floor. These muscles, once strong, gradually weaken, losing their tone and their ability to do their job. And the tricky part is that this change happens quietly. There's no pain, no warning sign, just softer erections, less control, slower recovery, and eventually, less confidence. What makes this even more frustrating is that men often blame themselves or think they're simply past their prime. That kind of thinking can really chip away at your sense of self. But the truth is, your body isn't broken. It just needs the right kind of support to rebuild what time has slowly taken away. These pelvic muscles are just like the muscles in your arms. They respond to nourishment, exercise, and consistency. And yes, they can be rebuilt, even if you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. The real tragedy is that most men never learn this. They spend years, sometimes decades, believing that their only options are pills or simply giving up. But I've seen what happens when you give your body what it needs. I've seen men like John regain their confidence, their intimacy, and their sense of manhood. And it all started with rebuilding these small, often overlooked muscles deep within the pelvis. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. These muscles, although hidden, are highly responsive to certain nutrients, especially complete proteins, leucine, and calcium. And surprisingly, 3 simple, easy-to-find cheeses contain all of those in just the right ratios for older men. But these aren't just any cheeses. They're supported by real science, and they work in very specific ways. One provides long-lasting support, another delivers quick absorption, and the third helps restore muscle firing and nerve control. Coming up next, I'll show you exactly which cheese tops the list and why it's one of the most powerful, yet overlooked tools for rebuilding muscle strength where it matters most. You might even already have it in your fridge right now. Let's talk about how pelvic muscle loss can actually lead to erectile dysfunction. When most men think about erectile problems, they immediately think about testosterone or blood flow. That's what we've been told for decades. Low T, poor circulation, aging arteries. And yes, those things do play a role. But in my 3 decades of treating men over 60, I've noticed something that almost no one discusses, yet it appears in almost every case of declining sexual performance: pelvic muscle weakness. These are the muscles at the base of your body that help control urination, support your organs, and most importantly, compress and hold the veins that keep blood trapped inside the penis during arousal. Without their firm support, blood leaks out just as fast as it goes in. The result is that you might get hard, but you can't stay hard, or the erection is weaker than it used to be, or you experience a decline in sensation, pressure, or control. These aren't just vague, age-related changes. They're mechanical consequences of lost pelvic muscle function. I remember a gentleman named Robert, 72, who came to see me after struggling for years. He'd done everything right, ate healthy, stayed active, and even walked a mile every day. But in the bedroom, things had been slowly falling apart. "I feel like my body just doesn't respond anymore," he told me. His blood work came back normal, with no signs of low testosterone. What we discovered, however, was clear. His pelvic floor was incredibly weak, and it had been quietly deteriorating for years. This is what sarcopenia does. It doesn't just shrink your biceps or thighs. It attacks the inner scaffolding that supports your most vital functions, like sexual health, bladder control, and even posture. And because the pelvic floor is internal, most men don't realize how weak it's become until the symptoms are staring them in the face. Erections that fade midway, orgasms that feel shallow, trouble starting or stopping the stream when urinating, and even increased urgency or dribbling afterward. These aren't random occurrences. They're warning signs. They're your body's quiet cry for help. And the longer they go unaddressed, the harder it becomes to restore what's been lost. But here's the good news, and I can't emphasize this enough. These muscles are not dead, and they're not beyond repair. They've simply been undernourished and underused. And the moment you start feeding them the right kind of fuel, nutrients that specifically target muscle regrowth, they begin to respond, sometimes in a matter of weeks. That's exactly what happened with Robert. We didn't prescribe another pill. We focused on rebuilding strength from the inside out, starting with targeted nutrition and a few simple movement strategies. Within 2 months, his control had returned. Within 3, he felt firmer, more responsive, and more confident, not like a teenager again, but like the strong, capable man he remembered being just 10 years earlier. So, if you've noticed any of these changes in your own body, if you've felt that quiet decline in function, power, or presence, it's time to stop blaming age and start supporting the muscles that matter most. And now, here's where it gets exciting. There's one particular cheese that functions like a slow drip infusion of muscle-preserving protein, perfectly suited for men over 60. It's mild, affordable, easy to eat, and surprisingly powerful. In fact, if I could recommend only one food to help older men strengthen their pelvic floor, this would be it. Let me show you exactly what it is and how to use it for maximum results. Let's move on to cheese number 1, cottage cheese, the gentle powerhouse. If there's one food I've seen make a real, measurable difference in my older male patients, particularly those struggling with muscle loss and weakened pelvic control, it's cottage cheese. I know it might not be the most glamorous or exciting food. For some, it might bring back memories of bland diet plates or plastic cups lurking in the back of the fridge. But let me tell you something most people don't know. Cottage cheese is one of the most powerful, affordable, and underappreciated tools for rebuilding lost muscle after 60, especially the muscles that are most important for sexual health. I've recommended it to hundreds of patients over the years, and I've watched it help men regain strength they didn't think was possible, not just in their legs or arms, but also in their pelvic floor, which is the foundation for better erections, better bladder control, and a stronger, more responsive body. What makes cottage cheese so special is its unique combination of high-quality protein and something called casein. Casein is a slow-digesting protein that releases amino acids over several hours. This is incredibly important for older adults because our bodies don't hold onto protein the way they used to. We need a steady supply, especially when we're sleeping or not very active, in order to prevent further muscle breakdown. Just half a cup of low-fat cottage cheese provides about 14 grams of protein with very few calories. And more importantly, it contains a significant amount of leucine, an amino acid that acts like a trigger for muscle repair. Leucine signals to your body, hey, it's time to rebuild. And as we get older, our muscles become less sensitive to these signals. We need more of them, more often. That's why cottage cheese is such a smart daily habit. But the real reason I love cottage cheese for older men isn't just nutritional. It's also practical. It's soft, easy to chew, easy to digest, and incredibly versatile. I've had patients who've lost their appetite or have trouble with meats still manage to get their daily protein simply by adding cottage cheese to their breakfast or snacks. Some eat it plain, while others blend it into smoothies or mix it with fruit. I even had one gentleman, named David, who started replacing mayonnaise in his tuna salad with cottage cheese. Not only did he feel better, but his blood pressure also improved. And here's a little trick I often recommend. Have a serving before bed. Because of the slow-release nature of casein, eating cottage cheese at night provides a gentle stream of nutrients while you sleep. This is when your body does the bulk of its repair work, particularly your muscles, including the pelvic muscles that support your erections, control your bladder, and help regulate your core stability. There's growing research showing that older adults who regularly consume casein-rich protein, like cottage cheese, not only preserve more muscle mass but actually rebuild it, even without intense exercise. That's huge, because not every man can lift weights or hit the gym. But almost every man can open the fridge, grab a spoon, and nourish his body with something that works quietly and powerfully in the background. If you're looking for one simple change that can make a big difference, start here. Add half a cup of cottage cheese to your morning or evening routine. Do it consistently, and give it a few weeks. You might be surprised by how much stronger and more supported your body begins to feel, especially in the ways that matter most. But we're just getting started, because while cottage cheese provides you with steady, long-lasting muscle support, the next cheese on our list is like concentrated fuel, packed with protein, calcium, and digestive power, in a form that your body can absorb almost instantly. You won't want to miss it. Let's move on to cheese number 2, Parmesan, the calcium concentrate. There's something truly remarkable about Parmesan cheese. It's sharp, aged, and full of character, just like many of the men I've had the privilege of treating over the years. At first glance, it seems like a simple topping, something you sprinkle on pasta without much thought. But once you understand what's inside this aged cheese, you'll never look at it the same way again, especially if you're a man over 60 who's serious about rebuilding strength, starting with the muscles that directly affect your ability to stay active, confident, and sexually capable. Parmesan is a quiet powerhouse. Just 1 ounce, about the size of your thumb, contains over 10 grams of complete, concentrated protein. That's more than most protein bars. And because Parmesan is aged for over 24 months, its proteins have already begun to break down into smaller, more digestible pieces. This means your body doesn't have to work as hard to absorb the nutrients. It's like nature's version of pre-digested muscle fuel. For older adults with slower digestion or reduced appetite, that's a huge advantage. But the real magic of Parmesan lies in its calcium. Just 1 ounce delivers over 300 milligrams of it, roughly a quarter of your daily needs. Now, I know a lot of people associate calcium with bone health, and yes, that's true. But what most men don't realize is that every single muscle contraction in your body, including the ones that sustain and support an erection, depends on calcium. Without it, your muscles simply can't fire properly. They become sluggish, weak, and less responsive. This includes your pelvic floor muscles, the ones responsible for holding blood inside the penis, helping you stay firm, and giving you the pressure and control that define a satisfying sexual experience. If those muscles aren't getting enough calcium, it doesn't matter how much protein you eat or how active you are. The contraction just won't be strong enough. That's why adding a small amount of Parmesan each day can make a real difference, not just in your legs or back, but in the intimate, often unspoken parts of your health. And let's be honest, Parmesan tastes amazing. It's rich, salty, and satisfying. You don't need a lot to get the benefit. A couple of tablespoons grated fresh over your eggs in the morning, a little on your soup or salad at lunch, or a small piece paired with fruit or nuts in the afternoon. I had one patient, named Peter, who told me he started looking forward to his daily Parmesan ritual. It wasn't a chore, it was a moment of pleasure, knowing he was doing something small but powerful for his body. Even better, authentic Parmesan is naturally low in lactose. So, if you've had trouble with dairy in the past, you may find that aged cheeses like this one agree with you far more than milk or soft cheese. Look for blocks labeled Parmigiano Reggiano, with a rind stamped with dots. Those are the real deal. They're a little more expensive, but you use less because the flavor is so concentrated, and the nutrition is far superior to the cheap, pre-graded alternatives. When it comes to rebuilding the pelvic muscles that support your manhood, Parmesan offers a unique 1-2 punch: highly digestible protein and powerful calcium. Together, they create the foundation your muscles need to contract with strength and recover with confidence. And while cottage cheese supports long-term muscle repair and Parmesan delivers dense, bioavailable strength, the next cheese on our list is completely different. It works fast, it's incredibly gentle on your system, and it may be the missing piece for men who want faster results after physical activity. You'll definitely want to hear this. Let's talk about cheese number 3, ricotta, the fast-acting repair agent. Ricotta might not be the first cheese that comes to mind when you think about strength, stamina, or pelvic health, but let me tell you, it deserves your attention. Soft, creamy, and almost subtly sweet in flavor, ricotta is often seen as a comfort food, something layered in lasagna or spread on toast. But beneath that mild taste lies a powerful ally for any man over 60 looking to restore the foundation of his physical and intimate strength. What makes ricotta so special is that it's made from whey, the liquid leftover from cheese production. And whey protein is the fastest absorbing protein you can get. That speed matters, especially when your body is trying to rebuild muscle in response to activity. When you walk, garden, or even climb stairs, your pelvic floor muscles are activated. They're doing subtle, important work. If you feed them the right kind of protein within a short window after that movement, they respond more efficiently, repairing, strengthening, and regaining function. Ricotta delivers that fast fuel. Half a cup provides about 14 grams of high-quality protein. But it's not just the quantity, it's also the type. Whey protein is rich in branched-chain amino acids or BCAAs, which bypass the liver and head straight to your muscle tissue. This includes the pelvic muscles that support erections, bladder control, and even your posture. I've had patients who couldn't tolerate heavier proteins, steak, eggs, or even protein shakes, find real progress simply by adding ricotta after a short walk or light resistance training. There's something gentle and healing about ricotta. It's easy to eat, even for men with dental issues or swallowing difficulties. It's low in sodium, which is especially helpful for men watching their blood pressure, and it has a mild taste that blends well with both sweet and savory dishes. I had one patient named Frank who started using it in everything: on toast with honey in the morning, as a base for dips with lunch, and stirred into warm vegetables at night. He wasn't just feeding his body, he was enjoying the process. And within 6 weeks, he noticed real changes, not just in the firmness of his erections, but also in how steady and balanced he felt overall. There's also a surprising cardiovascular benefit to ricotta. Whey protein has been shown to help reduce blood pressure and support heart health. This means that when you eat ricotta, you're not just building muscle, you're also improving blood flow, one of the most critical components of healthy sexual function. It's a rare win-win, strengthening your body while protecting your heart. If you're someone who hasn't enjoyed dairy in years or who finds traditional sources of protein hard to manage, ricotta might be the perfect way back in. Choose whole milk ricotta when possible. It offers more protein and a creamier texture. And don't be afraid to experiment. Spread it on whole grain toast with a dash of cinnamon, blend it into a smoothie with fruit and spinach, or use it in place of mayonnaise or sour cream in your favorite recipes. With ricotta, you're giving your muscles what they need exactly when they need it. And when combined with a little movement and consistency, the results can be impressive, not overnight, but steadily, predictably, and deeply satisfying, because you're supporting the very muscles that help you feel like yourself again. Now that you've met all 3 of these powerful muscle-building cheeses, the question becomes, when should you eat them? Timing is everything, and in the next section, I'll share a little-known trick that can dramatically enhance your results, especially if you're over 60 and struggling to rebuild strength where it matters most. Most people focus so much on what they eat that they never stop to think about when they eat. And for men over 60, especially those looking to rebuild strength and restore sexual function, timing can make all the difference. You can have the perfect protein and the most nutrient-dense foods, but if you're eating them at the wrong time, your body simply won't use them the way it should. This isn't just a theory, it's something I've witnessed in countless patients over the years. Take Thomas, one of my longtime patients. He's 74, a retired engineer, and meticulous about everything he does, including his diet. He was eating all the right things: lean protein, healthy fats, and those 3 cheeses we just talked about. But he still felt weak, and his performance in the bedroom hadn't improved the way he'd hoped. When we sat down and examined his routine, one thing immediately stood out. He was eating most of his protein at dinner: a big steak, a heavy helping of cheese, a late meal, but very little protein in the morning or afternoon. This pattern, light at breakfast, light at lunch, and heavy at dinner, is incredibly common among older adults, and it's exactly the opposite of what your muscles need. After you've been asleep for 8 to 10 hours, your body is in a catabolic state. It's breaking down muscle tissue for energy. If your first meal of the day is toast, coffee, and maybe a piece of fruit, you're missing a critical window. You're letting your body stay in breakdown mode when it's actually craving nutrients to shift gears into rebuilding. Research now shows that the first meal after waking up should include at least 25 to 30 grams of protein. That's the threshold your body needs to kickstart muscle synthesis, especially as you age. This is where our three cheeses become even more powerful. A breakfast of half a cup of cottage cheese with berries, plus a slice of whole grain toast topped with ricotta and cinnamon, that's nearly 30 grams of high-quality protein. And it's gentle, satisfying, and easy on your stomach. But timing isn't just about breakfast, it's also about what you eat after movement. Every time you do some light activity, whether it's walking, stretching, gardening, or even doing a few push-ups against the wall, your muscles enter what we call a receptive state. For about 2 hours after that activity, your muscles are primed to absorb nutrients. That's when you want to give them something good, a bit of ricotta, a chunk of Parmesan, a protein-packed snack that helps muscles repair while the window is still open. And then there's the evening. That's where casein, the slow-digesting protein in cottage cheese, really shines. Eating it before bed provides a steady release of amino acids through the night, when your body does the majority of its repair work. Think of it like giving your muscles a night shift nurse, constant care while you rest. This simple timing strategy, morning protein, post-activity fueling, and nighttime nourishment, can transform how your body responds. It's not about eating more, it's about eating smarter, matching your body's rhythm so it can rebuild the muscles you need, not just for strength and balance, but also for intimacy, control, and confidence. And now you might be wondering, how much of this do I really need to eat each day? What's the right amount of cheese? How do I balance it with the rest of my meals? In the next section, I'll walk you through a clear, practical plan to make this all work for you day by day, meal by meal, so you can start seeing results in a way that fits your life. Let's talk about an action plan for men over 60. By now, you understand the why these three cheeses matter, why your pelvic muscles play such a crucial role in your strength and erections, and why timing your nutrition is a game changer. But knowing isn't enough. The real results come from what you do with this knowledge. So, let me help you take the next step with a simple, realistic plan that you can start today, because when you're over 60, every day you wait is another day your muscles lose ground, and every day you act is a day you take your power back. The first step is easy: get the right ingredients in your home. Go to the grocery store and buy 3 things: cottage cheese, ricotta, and a block of authentic Parmesan. If you're unsure where to start, look for low-fat or whole-milk cottage cheese, whole-milk ricotta with minimal ingredients, and a wedge of real Parmigiano Reggiano, the kind with the dotted rind. You don't need fancy brands, just the real stuff without fillers or unnecessary additives. Next, map out where these cheeses fit into your day. For breakfast, start with half a cup of cottage cheese. Mix it with fruit or sprinkle cinnamon on top. That single change could give your body the protein surge it needs to flip the switch from breakdown to rebuilding. At lunch or as a snack, grate an ounce of Parmesan onto a salad, soup, or even some steamed vegetables. You'll get a dense hit of protein and calcium without much volume, which is perfect if your appetite isn't what it used to be. After light activity, whether it's a walk, some housework, or a few gentle stretches, reach for ricotta. A third to a half cup can be spread on toast or stirred into a smoothie. Quick, easy, and powerful. And here's the truth: consistency is more important than perfection. You don't have to be perfect every day. You don't need to become a nutrition expert or eat nothing but cheese. You just need to commit to making these 3 foods a regular part of your daily rhythm. In my experience, men who stick with this approach for even 30 days start to feel a difference. By 60 or 90 days, they're often amazed, not just by improved strength or firmer erections, but also by their posture, balance, and even their confidence walking into a room. Don't overlook movement. I'm not talking about gym workouts or complicated routines. Just pick 3 days a week and do 10 minutes of light resistance work, wall push-ups, standing up and sitting down from a chair, or even light squats holding onto the kitchen counter. Then follow it with one of your muscle-fueling cheeses. That simple pairing can create a powerful response in your pelvic floor muscles. Remember, these muscles don't need punishment, they need nourishment and activation. If you're concerned about sodium, lactose, or cholesterol, don't worry. Each of these cheeses has options. You can find low-sodium cottage cheese, low-lactose Parmesan, and heart-healthy ricotta. It's all about making smart choices that fit your needs. So, print this plan, write it down, stick it to your fridge, and make it part of your daily routine, not as a diet, not as a burden, but as an investment in the next chapter of your life, one that's stronger, steadier, and more connected to who you really are. Because in the end, this isn't just about cheese. It's not even just about erections or pelvic muscles. What you're really rebuilding here is trust. Trust in your body, your ability, and your future. And in the final section, I want to share a few words that tie this all together. Words I've told many of my patients who once felt defeated but found something powerful waiting for them just beneath the surface. Please stay with me, you need to hear this. I want to share some final thoughts about rebuilding strength where it matters most. If there's one thing I've learned after 3 decades of working with men over 60, it's this: most of them aren't looking to feel young again. They're looking to feel like themselves again, steady, capable, in control of their bodies, and connected to the people they love. And for so many, that starts with something as simple, yet powerful, as rebuilding the muscles that time and neglect have worn down, especially the ones that no one talks about. We've covered a lot in this journey together. You now understand that erectile issues aren't always about testosterone. They're often about the quiet, hidden loss of pelvic muscle strength. You've learned that cottage cheese offers slow, steady repair, Parmesan delivers dense protein and essential calcium, and ricotta provides fast-acting fuel for recovery. You've seen how timing your meals, especially around movement and rest, can make a significant difference in how your body responds. And you've been given a realistic step-by-step plan to put it all into action. But more than facts or food, what I hope you walk away with is a renewed sense of possibility, that your body still listens, that your strength is not gone but waiting to be reawakened, and that your health isn't in decline but in your hands. You don't need to do everything all at once. Just begin. Open your fridge, take a step, eat with purpose, and move with intention, and trust that change will come, not overnight, but day by day with every good choice you make. You have more power than you've been told, and now you know how to use it. So, go get started. Your future self is counting on you.